On to Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce, who joins us now. Alexis, Tammy mentioned that Columbia University professor slamming the university over its response to the Israel-Hamas war and the protests across campus. Listen to how he put it.
We would never allow the KKK to march on our campus. We would never allow a pro-ISIS demonstration on our campus. But here, we have pro-terror student organizations. If my amazing 2-year-old daughter was now 18 years old, I would never send her to Columbia.
I would never send her to Columbia, and he's a professor there. So Tammy, what's going on at colleges across the country, and since when did we ignore a heinous act of terror that killed more than 1,400 people and support a terrorist group?
You know, with all the hell that is unfolding in the Middle East, one thing it's done is it's pulled the curtain back. This is not new. It didn't just suddenly appear. This is the result of the infection on the left. We see it with, yes, the squad in Washington, and we see it in this environment. The argument here, of course, is that nothing is really about a free Palestine, because you can accomplish that without murdering babies and slitting their throats. This is about the Jewish people. And that is what underlies this, is Jew hatred. You know, the Free Press, run by Barry Weiss, also had a very good analogy, more here at home, about the Charleston mass murder, racist mass murder, right? If we had had a racist group then march to celebrate Dylan Roof and the murder of those black Americans in that church, there would have been universal outrage. It would have been rejected. And yet, when it comes to Jews, they won't do it. And yet, all of the diversity, inclusion, and equity requirements say that this is about embracing people and making everyone feel that they belong, but of course, perhaps except for the Jews. In fact, even at Harvard, they've argued, and this from the Washington Examiner late last year, that misgendering someone could be a violation of policy and Title X, and you could be suspended. So there is a decision here that has infected really most universities we see at this point, not all, but many, that we are allowing this kind of Jew hatred to be perpetrated and to be displayed as though this attack on people's religion or culture doesn't really matter. And it's never been about making people uncomfortable. It's been about power, and it's been about how the liberals, John, see politics, the oppressed versus the oppressors.
So when I was thinking about this morning, Tammy, I was thinking that, you know, all of these liberal arts colleges across the country are bending over backwards to create so-called safe spaces for students, yet at the same time, they support, even promote, a hostile environment for Jewish students.
Correct. As
Alexis McAdams was letting us know.
Here's why that's a problem. What that is based in, this is the fruit from the poisoned tree. Those arguments rely on an entire section of society of teaching, indoctrinating young people to believe that other people, because of their race or because of their religion or even because of their politics, are evil and are dangerous and need to be stopped. So when the indoctrination starts through this DEI dynamic and safe spaces and political correctness, you are indoctrinating people to look at other human beings because of immutable characteristics as individuals who are dangerous to you because of their existence and need to be controlled. This is not just a natural extension of that. This is what has bred those policies.
And now it's the Jewish students who are feeling endangered, and the colleges are doing nothing about it. Tammy,
that's right.
You referenced this, far-left squad Democrats still refusing to condemn the violence of Hamas. Most pointedly, Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib placing blame on Israel for that Gaza hospital bombing. She still hasn't taken down the tweet. Republican lawmakers expressing their outrage over the anti-Israel rhetoric. Listen to this.
When you go out and have people parroting this line that Israel is targeting hospitals, it is going to lead to ancillary violence in all these other places.
We certainly do not need members of Congress from the squad being a part of the propaganda machine coming out of Washington, D.C. in support of Hamas. I think it's very dangerous in these times.
They are a disgraceful bunch. The fact that we have sympathizers as members of Congress is so unbecoming and so horrifying.
Her own president said in a speech last night that Israel was not to blame for that hospital explosion. And now misreporting of that whole episode has inflamed the Middle East in ways that it wasn't prior to that hospital explosion. And yet they continue to do it, Tammy.
They do, because for the left, the worldwide left, their raison d'etre, their reason to be, is because of victimhood. That's why you see inner cities here in Los Angeles, blue cities. The life never improves. That's why Hamas uses civilians and their own space, the entire Gaza Strip, as a man-pad for terrorism. It breeds more suffering. It breeds more terrorism. That's why they lied about the hospital. They need victims in order to have a reason to exist. It will never end with the left. There'll always be a new enemy, someone else to smash. And the only way that you can make these arguments, and this is what we are dealing with the Squad, is that their entire being for the left, and those kinds of activists especially, is to make sure that victimhood stays at the top of our minds. And if it doesn't exist, they will create it. So that is what we're facing here.
Tammy Bruce for us. Tammy, as always, thank you.
Thank you, sir.